Death Note is definitely in my top 5 anime of all time. It's a psychological thriller that's witty, entertaining, and keeps you on edge. It's an anime you can watch if you're a lover of suspense and drama, and it's one of the best written animes illustrating how power can corrupt. Death Note is an intellectually stimulating show filled with tension and moral dilemmas. 70 years after its initial release, it still remains one of the best and massively beloved animes of the 2000s. It's the kind of series you recommend to that friend who doesn't watch anime but wants to get into it. It's a perfect first choice with only 37 episodes, so it's easily bingeable and a great introduction to anime. The Death Note dub is actually decent, which makes it more appealing to audiences that are not familiar with anime. After every episode, you want to know what's next, and you find yourself intrigued by the different interpretations of justice and their executions. This show is different from other anime because it actually follows the antagonist rather than the protagonist. The protagonist is L, a genius detective with incredible deductive skills. He's very introverted, enigmatic, and easily the greatest anime detective of all time. And I don't think that's an exaggeration. You'll understand once you watch the show. Even though he's not the MC, L is such a character and it's so fascinating to watch him work. What he lacks in people skills, he makes up for in analytical and critical thinking skills. He's a unique and interesting character that doesn't want or try to steal the spotlight, but as a viewer, you can't help but like him. L is greatly loved within the Death Note community and he's my favorite character in the show. L's successors don't hold a flame to him, but they embody his values. The MC and antagonist of the show is Light Yagami. He started as a brilliant, morally upright high schooler that often placed first in the national exams, and his character development is one of the most intriguing aspects of this whole series. When he's introduced, Light is so bored of his life that he becomes numb and experiences his life from the passenger seat. One day, Light finds Ryuk's death note dropped on the grass. Ryuk is a Shinigami, which translates to Grim Reaper or God of Death, that dropped his death note whilst wandering the earth. He did this for his own amusement and entertainment because Ryuk and Light share their boredom of life in common, and he indirectly gave Light his death note when he dropped it. He decided not to take the death note from Light in the hopes that his journey will entertain him, and that's Ryuk's main role in this story. He explains the rules of the death note and observes the humans for amusement. So this is really a story of how boredom can kill. Literally. Light realizes that the death note does exactly what it says on the front. He is able to kill people in any way that he wants as long as he knows their name and face. With this power, he decides he wants to cleanse the world of evil by killing people he thinks are immoral. From there, he decides that he's a god and he's going to create a perfect society. This is the point where I think things really start to go downhill for this character. He gets one taste of power and then he thinks he's god. That's crazy. The whole thing started out as wanting to make the world a better place, but eventually his ego completely takes over and he forms one of the craziest god complexes I've ever seen in an anime character. Light is witty, charismatic, and persuasive, typical narcissistic traits that make it easy for him to sway people and deceive others throughout the 37 episodes of this series. So this story mainly follows one of the most memorable dynamics in anime, a battle of wits between Light and L, who are meant to be intellectually on par. It becomes an incredibly entertaining game of chess between two masterminds with opposing ideologies and interpretations of justice. L represents the traditional form of justice that we are used to seeing, whilst Light represents a dictatorial justice. Light adopts Kira as a pseudonym to mask his identity and protect himself from the police who investigate the killings. So the story takes us through Light's development into one of the smartest criminal masterminds in anime. You can often hear the internal monologues of the characters, which helps you understand exactly how they think and adds richness to the story. As Light's lust for power grows, he becomes more ruthless, blurring the lines between justice and tyranny. We experience how possessing and using the Death Note makes Light descend into madness as he abuses the power, becoming immoral and corrupt. This story is very intricate and complex, containing lots of suspense. It has an iconic and very memorable potato chip scene that everyone tends to love because of how ridiculous it is. There is one particular plot decision that I completely disagree with that dropped the quality of the story in my personal opinion. This is something you'll find out more about when you hit episode 24 onwards, but besides that, the story feels seamless. After episode 25, I had to take a breather and process everything I just watched. It's definitely the most controversial episode in the series, but overall, Death Note is such a fun ride with such a simple structure, clever writing, and masterful direction, which captures the suspense and emotions in the scenes perfectly. It has great pacing that allows viewers to engage with it and enjoy the psychological warfare in the series. The voice actors for the characters are well selected and embody the characters perfectly. This show contains some of my favorite plot twists that I've ever seen in anime. I'm not going to spoil it, but those plot twists are insane and definitely a roller coaster to be enjoyed. The musical narration is iconic and emotive, from orchestral sounds creating tension and melancholic sounds to encourage empathy. L easily has the best theme song in the entire anime, hands down. It makes his internal monologue and thinking a lot more intense. The character designs are cool and realistic. Misa is a character in the show that is well designed in my opinion, whilst Light looks like an evil teenage Justin Bieber. The animation is at a really great quality for its time, and I like the art style a lot. It's a little gothic, dark, and atmospheric, and it really complements the dark themes within the series. Personally, I like how the series really makes you think about justice and human nature. It makes you question if human beings deserve the right to decide who lives and who dies, and if absolute power is always corrupt. This anime teaches that it's not a good idea to try and become a god just because you have access to power. I recommend Death Note to anime watchers and non-anime watchers because it's addictive and leaves you fully immersed in their world. It's so enjoyable and entertaining that most people watch it over and over again, and I'm sure it's an anime you won't regret watching. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below to let me know what you think of Death Note. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you want to see more anime content from me. Okay, thank you, bye!